Hey, bestie Ange.
Hey, sweetie pie Les, what's cooking?
Good.
Why?
You're looking good.
Why do you get like
Why
that?
do I do like this?
It's like you get giddy when I tell you look good, or
just the hello.
I know.
You know what it reminds me of? When
What?
I was young
Mm-hmm.
and we were getting food. And it was like dinner time, and it was time to do the dinner jig. You know, you're so happy about it. That might be it. So it was always a little jig.
It's always a little jig.
Yeah, the happy dance.
I know. I remember when we were housemates. That was always a part of the
that
day.
was a fun time. Every time was a fun time.
Oh my gosh. But
Crazy.
especially around food, because we would notice each other dancing and it's like,
you got food, right?
It's starting to smell good, right?
So let's bring them on in. Welcome to another episode of Black Boomer Besties from Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. Welcome, guys and gals, all the peoples.
So, Ange, you have new hair.
I do. I got the sides cut down. You're going to see the gray happening.
I know. It looks a little mohawkish.
I know. But this is an interim style. I'm actually going to get braids, and this is going to be an undercut. So it's not the full style yet. I did take video of me at the barbershop, by the way. So you guys, Patreon folks, will see that. I went to a barber that has his business in the oldest barbershop in Durham, North Carolina.
Oh, wow.
So it was good to be in the history. So I'll have some pictures of that. But so I decided that I wanted to get braids, and my hair had kind of grown out on the sides, and I stumbled across a YouTube video, and I will put the link to it in our description, that showed all these different styles with an undercut.
Okay.
And they were like a lot, 10 maybe.
Well, Monique could tell you, because you should see, I was just down in Florida visiting her.
Shout out to you, Monique.
Weekend. And, she's her normal glam. Maybe she can let me show a picture of her in our notes or something like that. It's like, my sister is something else.
Yeah, so she's definitely an influencer. So I decided to cut the sides down so that I could get some of the looks, and just to make it a little neat, a little neater as an undercut.
You're looking neat.
Thank you. I feel neat. So yeah, it comes down to a V in the back. I will have pictures of that also. And because, I just like the styles that I saw with this cut with the braids.
All right. At some point, I'm going to do something with my hair. It's so long, and it's so long. I was
sent you
noticing, and I can almost sit on it.
But I sent you stuff to show you ways that you can do it. But what do you look at them and say, I can't do it? What happens? You don't look? What happens?
For one, I don't really remember seeing it, but I need help. You know me.
Okay. The next time we're together,
I can put it up and I can put it down.
The next time we're together, I'm doing something to your hair.
Okay.
Not coloring it.
Right. I was thinking
we've done that.
I don't need to change the color.
No,
but you can just help me with the styles.
Yeah, it's going to be like pipe cleaner. There's so many things.
I don't like.
I know.
People fooling with my hair.
You don't like tension. You don't.
I don't like it. Don't pull on my hair. I'm not the massage your scalp kind of girl, and that's not my love language. And you know how.
She's tender-headed.
Yeah.
She's tender-headed, right? So, we will be recording that, because I've sent you so many. I'm saying so many, but I know how you are around this stuff. So I didn't send you just any and anything. So I'm going to say at least 5 to 8 things I've sent you over the last few months. Well, let's go.
Oh, I haven't seen any, but we'll see.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't see my stuff. Okay. They were probably not in text. They were probably in on IG or Facebook or something.
You know,
but I will find them. Stuff. I will find them.
Okay.
So,
what do you want to talk about today?
What I want to talk about is the fun that I had in LA, and well, I don't know if you guys know, but a few weeks ago, my youngest son moved out to the West Coast, and when I finished up with helping him to get settled, apartment furniture and that stuff, because he's starting adulting, and I decided to go see my big son, as we say in Jamaica, my first son, in LA, and he's like, "Mom, you know that you're fully booked, right? Because all my friends out here love you and they knew you were coming, and do you want to know everything that I booked, or do you want to just be surprised?" And I'm like, "Okay, just surprise me." And I had the best time. It's just such a sweet feeling of being known so well by him, and he has curated such an amazing set of friends, and they so had a great time, and I wanted to kind of talk about some of what I did. And I also want to say happy Pride. This is Pride Month, and so I want to talk about that and how that affects me personally, and we can kind of jump into that. Okay. So what happened was,
I saw pictures of you hanging out and
I know
partying.
It was so much fun. What happened was that I arrived at about noon, whatever day it was. I think it was a Sunday, Monday maybe. Anyway, and the first place we went was to a flea market. It was like a small flea market, and
that's your love language. That's your love language. See, your son knows you.
Totally. And this was one of so many things that we did in just a few days that spoke to the things that I love, including Gnep. So we're going to talk about the Gnep story also. But and that was your fault, because
most people don't even know what that is.
Listen, Gnepas, they're all different names for it. Some that are not similar at all. But when Leslie was in Costa Rica, it was kind of like, on one side, it was a solid because I got to see her enjoy one of my favorite fruits in the world. It probably ranks.
I had bunches of them.
It ranks second to mangoes for me. Mangoes are the top, Gneps, and then grapes. And because, I don't always find good mangoes here in the U.S., grapes kind of rank on top, because the other two are, Gneps, absolutely. Very, very few places in America I've seen them. And when I see them, they're not luscious. Leslie showed me this huge, like...
it was huge.
It was huge, like a freezer bag, like a big freezer bag, whatever size, gallon size? What?
Juicy.
Oh.
They were really wonderful.
So
very inexpensive.
Okay, could you stop now?
And I couldn't bring it to you. They don't
I
allow
understand
you
that.
to bring
I understand.
Things.
So that was the positive side. The negative side of that is I've been craving them since. And when I was in Portland, I saw people on Facebook advertising it, but nobody said where the heck they were.
That's
and
odd.
It was crazy. And I would type, "Where?" No response. It drove me nuts. And so when I got to LA, I told Johnny, "Look, it's West Coast. if it was in Portland, it's down here in LA. You got to help me find some. So anyway, I digress. So that was a part of the adventure.
Okay.
With them also.
I'm settling in with my pillow here.
Yeah. So we went to this flea market, and when you enter, they gave you 2 tickets for drinks, right? Because there was one of the vendors was a bar, and they had really just amazing drinks. And so we got 2 free drinks with that. And we had those. We enjoyed them very much. One had passion fruit, which it's okay. It's a little too fruity for me. That was his favorite. And then my favorite was one that had mezcal and I want to say ginger and something. Anyway, that was his reaction to it. It was too smoky.
Fan, and I'm not a big ginger fan. So
I know. Those are 2 things that are wrong with you. But okay. So at some point later, someone was leaving, and I was kind of towards the front at a high table. And they're like, "Oh, we're leaving. We didn't use our drink tickets. Do you want to have them?" And I said, "Sure." So I took them. And then when he came back over to me, my son, someone handed him a ticket. So anyway, needless to say,
you guys were lit. Hey, party over here.
We were. And let me tell you, the DJ was unbelievable.
Like old
house
school,
music,
house
music, like the garage type music, house music.
You guys don't know nothing about the Paradise
Y'all don't
Garage.
know nothing. Nothing.
Go in at night, come out at daybreak.
Started doing my dance. And I'm like, Johnny, we got to go to a club. He was like, "Are you sure, Mom? You know it's Pride." And I'm like, "That's exactly why I want to go. Let's go." And he was like, "Give me a second.
It might be too much for you."
He thought it would be too much for me. He must not know me. He must not know about me.
He probably thought you were me. Going to sleep at 9 o'clock at night.
But I did say, "Okay, but I'm going to need a nap first." So I absolutely took a nap, and his bed is so comfortable. I fell asleep immediately, slept for an hour, and then I was ready to go. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I wanted to kind of share that story about some of what I did in LA. And then what I knew that I did not want to do is to kind of edit the story. And, I wanted to talk more broadly about this expansion that I have been on around love and what it looks like, and we've kind of touched on this topic once or twice in earlier episodes, but I wanted to be kind of more open and direct about the topic. Obviously about me, but we've talked so much in all these years, and we've kind of you were so influential in my parenting, and just kind of expanding as a Christian what that means, and that led to me getting my own sense of how the God that I serve feels about this. And more recently, I think the way that it came up in an earlier podcast was around the last relationship that I was in, and then doing some online dating. And so my feeling became, listen, if you're going to talk about having fun in LA with your son, and then this Pride thing, and it's Pride Month. Um, just talk about the whole thing. And this podcast is about being liberated, and you and I have always kind of set the. We have always said that this podcast was not going to be about hiding. It was going to be about authenticity. And so as I thought about, well, I want to talk about my time there, I felt myself like, well, are you going to talk about, your own kind of expansion, evolution, whatever it is? And I said, yes, I'm going to talk about that because, me, once I feel like I am hiding myself or feeling bound, it's an indication to me that it needs to be, I need to open up versus shutting down.
Like a pressure point. Or...
Yeah, it's almost like, it's like, to do the opposite of opening up is what feels wrong.
Yeah, okay.
To me,
All right. Kind of say a little bit more about where you're going.
Sure. And this is going to flow because this isn't like this conversation is going to unfold in a way that I am most comfortable, and also know that any kind of meandering that I may do is not around discomfort. It's not me filtering myself. Let me say it that way. It's not me filtering myself. It's me also knowing that this whole topic is an area there's a lot of judgment around, right? And there's a lot of boxes that if you're this, then you're not that, or if you know what I mean. A lot of we segregate ourselves into categories a whole lot, and this is one of them. And so kind of the overarching thing for me is that when I was on eHarmony, I don't know how long ago it was. It may have been a year by now. I don't have any sense of timing. I reached a point, and when you're on any kind of technology, you have to check boxes, right? Especially on dating sites, you check boxes. It's kind of like, what do you want the tech to do for you?
Their algorithm. Where do they want?
Exactly. It's always that.
Where
Everybody's
do you want
familiar
it to be
with that.
Placed
right. Right. So the who do you want to be matched with? When that came up, I just did the standard thing for me, which was men. And, but as I kind of was on this, I'm going to call it healing from, and understanding, learning from my last relationship, some of what came out of that is, well, why am I choosing this box? Why is it really, is there, other than the fact that you've always done this, you've always dated men, what else is there that makes you choose this box? I also thought about, well, I've always dated men, and so far, I'm not in I am not in a love relationship right now, and I haven't been in a long time. And so it was like, well, should you choose some other box? Right? And it was really as simple as that. It almost became in a way like silly for me to only choose a box that I know has not been a successful box for me. Do you know what I mean?
I remember that time for you. If I can put it into words, it might be a little difficult, but what I remember you thinking is that what feeling do I want to receive?
Right.
And how do I want to be loved?
Yep.
And why should I be the one to narrow it down to where that might come from?
That's exactly right. Man.
I remember that.
You were listening.
Occasionally.
Occasionally. You nailed that. So it didn't come from this, I feel like I'm attracted to people other than men. It was more, why am I only, if the things that I want is respect and companionship and
the more human characteristics.
Exactly.
Yeah, then why am I limiting it to some humans?
Right. Right. And also, I'm going to say, however this lands, this is just, I'm being honest, and those choices have not been an indicator that, that is a group of humans that works for you. Right? I'm just saying, those are individuals, but I'm just saying as a kind of just almost a logical kind of processing way, not an emotional way.
Yeah.
Right. If this were, just any other, just logic way of looking at things.
Yes.
Well, in all of your life, that didn't work. And when I say it didn't work, I mean that it didn't look the way that I now want companionship to look. Right. And I experienced some of what I really desire companionship to look like in my last relationship. And why am I only looking for it with those types of humans is the way that I landed. Wow. I didn't wake up one day and say, I'm attracted to people other than men. I came to start questioning why my default is that. And
does it have to be?
Does it have to be?
And what could love look like in other ways?
Exactly. And how do I show up that makes love come to me in whatever human brings it to me? How do I kind of position myself? And what I mean by that, for example, is it could be, do I start looking at men just in a friendship way and see what happens? Or do I start looking at women or non-binary people, just be open to it? It just,
the problem with, there's several problems. One, society, as you said, almost forces us to check a box, and then that box becomes so exclusionary.
Yeah.
That's one thing. But what I also remember about this period in your life, this particular time you're referring to, is how you presented it to me.
Yeah.
And you know how I am. I'm like, what? What? I've got too many things to think about. Now I got to think about this, and how will I look at you? And then, do I need to start being jealous of?
You got to a place before I was even thinking of anything. You were like,
I immediately, first of all, if anybody knows me, I'm very competitive.
You are.
And ain't nobody sharing my bestie with me. Not if you identify as a woman.
Right.
You're my woman.
Yeah. No, I even appreciated kind of the way that you kind of, you were just so honest about it. So it started to become like not this theoretical thing, because you immediately kind of jumped into the conversation with me.
Yeah, and you know me, I'm always like, all right, enough about you. How does this affect me?
That's exactly how it went down.
It always goes down like that. It always comes back to Leslie.
But what that caused in me is it caused me to be like really like slow down. Okay, what is it? Wait, this is a lot.
Like you haven't lost me. You haven't lost me. And I'm like, well, how is this gonna go? What are we gonna go out the four of us and this or the?
Les, you're jumping the gun. I'm not even all the way there. Just. So
I always go from 0 to 60. It's like, hold up.
This is true. So some of, I have been kind of, as a part of me kind of doing this expansion thing, right? So think of this as another point in my life where I'm blowing the balloon a little bit more and
stretching.
Yeah. And it's kind of some of the ideas around how I show up in the world as a Black woman. I started thinking about the concepts like what are the assumptions that are made about me as a Black woman, and what would the assumptions be made about me as a Black woman who is, in the LGBTQIA community, right?
For example, you being concerned about judgment, you mean?
Well, that too, but let me give you an example which kind of takes it a little further than that, right? Is the labeling, right? So, well, what are you? Right? Well, it's really easy.
Again, yeah.
Yeah, and then when you get labeled, okay, people have a perception about what that is. And are you that? And are you not labeling yourself because you have some fears about it? Or, is it important for you to label yourself because you are you live your life out loud, and it's important for people to see someone who looks like you to show pride in who they are. Even the Q being the questioning part, right? And
that's heavy. That's a lot.
So well, I'm a deep thinker. So these are some of the ways that I've been kind of processing and getting help from some of my loved ones to find ways to understand things better and to do my investigations and so on. And a term that I recently became aware of, not that recently, but I've more recently been reading up about it, is, let me get it right. It's when the assumption is, and you are geared towards heterosexualism versus homosexualism, right? For example, if you think about our society's geared towards the patriarchy, right?
Sure, for sure.
Right, and so, and all that that means, and think of it like in a negative way right now.
Yeah, and right? Laws and rules geared and towards stereotypes that. And
right, men lead, women are subservient,
and sexism, and
right, women can't do certain things, so on and so forth, and apply that to heterosexualism. I'm not going to try to get the words right. I'm just going to speak.
Okay, so tell me what you mean now.
So what I mean by that is there's, in the same way that our society's geared towards male dominance, it's geared towards and the male way, the male gaze, if you will.
Yes.
It's also geared towards a heterosexual gaze.
Yeah. And is that, right? Do you mean heteronormative?
It's heteronormative, right. Exactly. It's heteronormative, but the compulsory part comes in because of the heteronormative, right? So meaning that the structures are set up to default to you being heterosexual.
Yeah.
And so this article that I just found, I started reading it earlier today, but it was so deep. It was like, ooh, I need to print it out so I could read it and highlight and so on.
Mm-hmm.
But it talked about the importance of straight women understanding this aspect of the way that our society is structured. In the same way that they understand the patriarchy, a part of the patriarchy
mm-hmm.
is hetero, right? Because if the patriarchy is designed for men, then it also designs who women are.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And right? Why then? And if I know you didn't finish reading the article, but why then does the article posit that you need to, that straight women need to be more aware of this?
Sure.
Norm?
So one glimpse of it that I did read, and this is kind of where I stopped myself because it was getting really juicy. It's really, if you consider yourself a feminist, for example, you need to understand all of the things that pressure and expect women to conform to a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay.
And so it's almost like to ignore that part of patriarchy is wrong.
Mm.
Do you understand that?
Mm-hmm.
If it is a part of the patriarchy, then,
you should be made aware of it. You should stay aware of it.
Exactly, mm-hmm. because it affects your fellow women.
Yeah.
Right? And so, anyway, I'm learning more about that. But so I just wanted to kind of...
I want to take a look at this article. That's one.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. It was, I wish I tried to print it before we got together, but I couldn't get it to, I couldn't get it to go to the printer. But I will refer to it and I will send you a link mm-hmm. to it so you can read about it. But yeah, so tell me how you're kind of
Well, we don't have a whole lot of time left in this particular time, and we can certainly come back to it because it's our podcast. But I want you to tell me where you've landed on this, kind of like bring it on home and where are you now? Because you spoke, and I remember the time when you were on eHarmony and choosing mm-hmm. and the discussion mm-hmm. that evoked for you. But where are you now?
Well, one thing I want to say is that I don't feel like there's a destination. My destination is to find the next love of my life. That's the destination, right? My destination isn't around kind of understanding these concepts, and that will come. This is not a scientific or theoretical work mm-hmm. that I'm doing. I want to understand myself more fully. That has been my journey for probably since I was 8. And I say 8, and 8 is my favorite number because at 8 is when I really started to see myself as a person separate and apart from my siblings, separate and apart from my parents. And I really started to have conversations with myself.
Wow.
And so this is a part of that. This is a part of that journey. I'm not going to in any way accept anyone's pressure either to define myself or to not. I'm not going to accept anyone's pressure. If I were to kind of take what you asked me as pressurized a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. It's not about defining myself. The destination is understanding the world better, and my belief until I die will be that my faith tells me that we should be in a state of constant change and understanding of ourselves and moving towards becoming a better you. And this is a part of that. This is absolutely the way that I see this. And as it kind of anchors into some things that are already there, I will anchor or I will attach. Mm-hmm. But, I'm definitely not going to like come out of one set of rules and go into another set of rules. That I'm not going to do. You know what I mean? And I know that the little bit of experience that I have in terms of having conversations with women is that there are these rules, and it was like, well, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm not moving from this is how you act here, and I'm challenging how I acted there. That I'm not going to do. So that was a real kind of,
I see.
Okay, not happening. So I'm just on this journey.
And what I'm thinking about when you mentioned about your faith and our faith is that our faith puts love above many, many things.
Everything.
And our faith also doesn't restrict and put love in a box.
Yep.
And say it has to look this way. And some people may disagree with that, but the way that my understanding of it is that, love is kind.
Yeah.
And the story of loving our neighbors and things like that. Mm-hmm. And I think that can go in a whole lot of different directions.
Yeah.
But it can also inform us on how our behavior is toward people who we other or people who we put in a box, or how we see people who don't look like ourselves or act like ourselves.
Right.
Or people that we don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's I'm glad you said that, because it's given me the opportunity to also say that what I've already kind of moved through in my understanding of my faith, Christ, is I'm so grounded in that I'm beyond the, oh, I got to check. Oh, I got to check. Oh, I got to check. He's already been doing such a work in me that my prayer life, my writing life, which includes, there's so much prayer and talking to God in my morning writing practice. There's so many points in my days where I'm in conversation
and checking
with
in
the Spirit and checking in, that it doesn't have to become this exercise for this thing.
Yeah,
it's just the way that I operate.
That's called relationship.
I mean? It is called relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It is called relationship. And so
wow,
that's it. And I do want to have like a follow-up to this, because I've just with it being Pride Month, I've just noticed so many things that where people are kind of challenging this notion of other people's joy. And I saw something about the rainbow means this, it doesn't mean that. And it's like, okay, I get it, I know the story of Noah, I mean, but okay, but do you have to rain on someone else's parade? Literally, do you have to do you know what I mean? Okay, it means
but
that.
Also, it here's another thing that I'm thinking. We understand where the rainbow came in the biblical terms and with Noah. Yeah. But is that the only thing that the rainbow means?
I'm just saying, was there an issue with Rainbow Bright? Was there, you know what I mean? Is it only an issue because it's this community that's using that symbol?
Right. I'm saying, does the rainbow have any other significance?
Yeah.
Is that, again, putting it in a box and it's, I own it only. Exactly. It's all mine and nobody else's.
Exactly.
It's so exclusionary. Exactly. We don't realize that that's what we're doing.
For sure. I have to say one other thing real quick, Les. So one of the places that I went is to this just amazing botanical gardens.
What's it called?
The Huntington Gardens. Mm-hmm. It's like a kind of library / museum / just these beautiful grounds. And you couldn't help but kind of see God's variety. Right? Everywhere you looked, I was fascinated by tree trunks. I will definitely put some pictures because I took pictures of a lot of tree trunks because I kept seeing them like skin and just God's variety and this idea of limitation, and it's this way and not that way, or it's these people and not those people, or it was just an affront. What I was seeing with my eyes was such an affront to these restrictive ways that we think about people. When I saw God's glory,
it almost means like you have to unleash them and let them go. I think that we get put in these circumstances where his love and grace becomes so obvious to us, when it's like, oh, that's what he means.
The abundance, the abundance, the expansion, the galactical, the creation, all of those things,
and the timeliness of it all.
Oh my gosh, it was incredible. It was incredible. So, anyway, happy Pride.
Great way to end. Wow. Okay.
All right.
This has been another episode of Black Boomer Besties from Brooklyn.
Right.